Welcome guys, this is our podcast, HGAR. My name is Adhaman.
And I'm Harvey, and today we're going to be looking at a few pieces of literature. We're looking at about business. So I've recently read a book, or haven't read it fully yet. I'm on about a third of the way through it, and it's a book called The Personal MBA by Joshua Kaufman.
Nice. And I've also been reading recently a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it really goes into, teaching the readers about financial literacy. So it challenges, original ideas about how money works and stuff like that. So yeah.
My book's more focused on the nitty-gritty points of business, like how it's a book where you can read it without reading the chapter before. You can just pick the point where it's focusing on your business. You go there, you read the section, and it gives you kind of an insight towards that. So one of the sections, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it, mate.
One of the sections I read was something called optional fatigue.
Yeah.
It kind of focuses on
Right.
the more options you have, the less action people take.
Right.
It's like if you go to a shop and there's 100 types of plain milk chocolate.
Yeah, true.
You're not going to know which one to pick. If you go to a shop there's only one, you know you want milk chocolate, you're going to get that one.
So would you say like eliminating other options and just having one option saves a lot of time?
Yeah, and because it's that time creates a delay, and then you might end up not having time to do anything. You might not even get the chocolate in the end. It's like saying sometimes it's better to have less than more, which is kind of opposite. Which is what you were saying about your book.
And I just got a quick question. How does that relate to One Space? Because I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I was going to go through that again, but if we can go through it as we go.
We'll go through it as we go.
How that relates to One Space, obviously our social platform for students, where we want it to be like an all-in-one app. When I read that kind of chapter section, I thought maybe it's better not to be an all-in-one app.
Okay.
Because say if students spoke for choice, they don't know what to do. And it might result in less students on the app, and that's a complete opposite way of our vision of our business.
So would you say like by simplifying, the business model and reducing all the different options, it made it a lot easier to kind of like create, paint a picture for, potential users, as they've not spoiled for choices, as there's less options, making it easier for the user to use the platform. So that's my take on it. That's why I think
100% hear it, but our kind of vision for the app was trying to be everything all in one. So I don't want to take that away. I think maybe having slightly a bit more categories where each category is less populated could be our way forward, because then we still get the best of our world and the rest of that. Right now I think we have about three categories. We have sport, entertainment and social. If we just go looking into it, we'll get about 6 categories, so double them, but each category we narrowed down a lot more. So
for example, for the demo we want to make sure just give a brief overview of what we're trying to do, but not have everything all in one. So in the first phase of the demo, we just want to have features such as you got the sports. So kind of give the user the freedom to select what type of request they want to do. This could be any type of sport, from football to basketball, tennis.
Sorry to cut but right now we have a section of sports. We could then have one called team sports and 1v1. So it could be a table tennis match versus someone else, or it could be a football match. So narrow it down, trying to play with someone or against someone.
100%. And I also want to just connect that to kind of like what we've done with One Space. So I've been reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and one thing that really stood out to me is comfort zones really hold people back. So I kind of relate this back to us, during our journey of starting One Space. There's been instances where we've decided to neglect certain things due to us being a bit we don't want to step out our shells. We feel a bit comfortable and stuff like that. So an example is for example we really want to go out and get some users to test our app, to validate the idea, but really and truly recently we haven't been doing that because it's a mixture of just laziness.
We've been lazy.
We've been lazy. So
and we say we've got assignments doing all this, and that's the reason why we're putting it off. But it's all down to laziness.
100%. And that is something that's kind of like a big stumbling block a lot of startups go through. So that's something it kind of opened up my awareness to that, and I feel like that's something I really benefited from reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. So let's go back to. Do you have anything else you would say?
I've got had a couple more points as well. There's one section in the book called decision fatigue.
Yeah.
And basically that, because as it's based for uni students, and we know uni students, they're studying all day, they're busy throughout most of the day.
Right.
So their brains, they've made so many decisions, hard working all day, they're getting tired, so that's where the decision fatigue comes from.
Yeah.
But making so much decisions in the first half of the day, when they finally do have time to chill out and calm down and do something they want to enjoy, their brains have run out of deciding power. So that means to like less thought for activities.
Okay.
So that's another, that relates back to the first one, the option fatigue.
Right.
They have less time and less thinking kind of space to look at all 100 options of chocolate bars.
Yeah.
They only have enough to know they want chocolate. They don't know what type.
Yeah.
And that goes back to they don't know what they want to do. But they just need, if they had something to do, a set thing to do on the evening, they'll do it.
Well, in terms of another thing that really stood out to me while I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad is, you know, rich people, they often see opportunities, you know, ordinary people miss. And this is something that really stood out to me because as I was reading the book, it went even into the examples of some of the things these things are. One of those being like networking, you know, for example, networking may be seen as a thing, I'll be like, yo, what am I networking for? You know what I mean? I might as well stay at home. But, you know, stepping out of that comfort zone and, you know, talking to people that, you know, may have more knowledge and it can be very beneficial, especially for our situation. Because, you know, there may be certain things that we may not be able to see, but people with other perspectives could really, you know, benefit us in a way. It would, you know, kind of steer us in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And also to kind of cling onto that point and how we can kind of pivot into one space with that point. Right. I thought rather than using one space and marketing it as a app for socially, like go and do activities and getting out of your bedroom with that, we could market it as a kind of a networking app where it's less corporate, let's say, because if I go to you, would you want to come to a networking event with me? You might say to me, oh, no, I've never been to one, it's a bit, I'm a bit shy. But if you say, do you want to come meet these people I'm going to play football with? And you can speak to them, get along with them, 100%. And that is a way to build the network into one space. Right. That's a really good point from you there.
Yeah, nice one. I'm just wondering as well, do you have any other points that you learned from reading that, you know, book in terms of anything else?
Personal MBA.
Yeah, personal MBA one.
One last one I wanted to kind of hit on was the fear of choosing wrong. Okay. Students are overwhelmed all day, and in the book, Joshua kind of pointed out on this as well. Yeah. He goes, you have so many choices, and it's the opportunity cost kind of thing. You don't want to choose the wrong one. Right. So if I choose this, I'm always, in the back of my head, I'm always going to be scared, saying, maybe I should have, that would have been better for me. Right. And then because you got that little thing in the back of your head, that thought, you're going to keep going in circles, and that's going to delay you, and you're like, oh, and keep thinking this. And then by the time you've done that, you've come to a decision where you haven't come to a decision, and you've done nothing. And you've got no time left in the evening to do anything.
So would you say kind of like the fear of failure, you know, often comes into the minds of students as like they don't want to like embarrass themselves in front of a lot of people and be like, oh shit, I made a mistake, you know? So would you say that's something that, you know, you would agree with?
Definitely, I think it is comes into the mind of everyone, not just students, but I'd say more so students because they've had less in real life experience. And obviously, if you go to a grown 40-year-old man, they've failed a few times in life and they're not scared to do it again. But as a student, you're new to it and you kind of are a bit cautious.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like oftentimes people, you know, they got great ideas, but they don't want to look dumb in front of people, so they end up not doing it. And this is something, you know, even us ourselves, is something we could do ourselves, you know, with one space. You know, we got a lot of bright ideas, but it's about execution at the end of the day. You can have all the best ideas, but if you're not going to execute them, there's no point having them in the first place.
100% agree, and I think that does hit to me as well, myself, even in, let's say, a coaching session, for example. I might think something, but I might just hold fire on that, so you raise a good point there.
No, 100%, man. It's been a nice talk, Harvey. You know, I learned a lot from personal MBA. You know, I really appreciate the fact that, you know, you went into and delved into different areas of the book, and I hope to, you know,
thank you. And I've already read a third of it, so when I'm done, I'll let you know and I recommend it, and I'll definitely check that book out as well.
I highly recommend it. You know, it really challenges your way of thinking about money, you know, because, you know, we went through the education system, and some of the ideas or some of the, you know, the terminology they use may not actually be what you actually agree with. So it kind of opens up that awareness opens up that perspective for you.
We'll definitely check it out. But it's been a nice talk with you.
Nice talk, man.
Nice.
Alright, man.